Hi, thanks for joining me for my tutorial today. We are going to make these lovely rustic scented pumpkins. So we've got this lovely rustic fabric here made with Big Value Aran by King Cole. This is such a budget friendly project, so it doesn't cost a lot at all, hardly any yarn used for each pumpkin, even the large ones. So I'm going to show you how to make the large today, and you just use the same concept to make any size that you like. So I've done a large one in rust, a middle one here, and it's called butterscotch, and a nice sort of ecru colour here. And they smell amazing. So we've got our lovely cinnamon sticks in there. You can add some extra fragrance if you like. So how we do this is we just make a circle. We're working in the rounds, so easy stitches, double crochet, single crochet, and front post double crochet. There are instructions for UK terminology as well. You can find that in the link at the bottom, so that shows you how to make each pumpkin in the 3 sizes, and you've got US and UK terminology there. I'm going to use US terminology just for this tutorial, but it should be easy to follow if you are using UK. All the materials are linked at the bottom, so just if you want to follow along with the written pattern as well and just sort of use this to visualize each step, you can do that. So we're going to use a 5mm hook today, and we're going to make the large pumpkin in rust. To begin, we're going to make 85 chains. I have 85 chains here. This is multiples of 7 plus 1. And this will make our segments, our sort of raised segments here when we work in the round. So I'll show you how to do that. What you want to do is join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. So make sure your chains are nice and straight. You don't want to twist them, so sort of follow it along. Make sure it's not twisted. And then slip stitch into the first chain. This can be a little bit fiddly. So you've lost 1 chain there, so you should have 84 in total now. And we're just going to chain 3. We don't turn our work at all in this pattern, so we'll keep working in the rounds. And we don't turn our work. So we've got our chain 3 there. So I'm going to go into the next chain, and we're going to do a double crochet. So I'm going to yarn over, go into the chain, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So we've done a double crochet there. We've got our chain 3, which counts as our first double crochet, and we're just going to repeat that all the way around and do double crochets in each chain until we've got 84 double crochets in the round. So into the chain, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Again, yarn over, into the chain, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So we're just going to repeat this all the way around, double crochets. That'd be UK treble crochets. After you've made your double crochets all the way around, you should have 84 stitches. So just check that before you join. So we're going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 3. So you've got chain 1, chain 2, chain 3. And you're just going to do a slip stitch into the top of that chain 3 and pull through. And we're going to chain 3 again. So throughout the pattern, these chain 3s will count as your first double crochet. So we're not going to turn our work, just make sure you're not twisted when you've joined, otherwise that'll make it awkward for you. So it's not twisted. So we're working in segments, so we're doing sections of 7 stitches. So if you count this as your first stitch, then you'll do 6 front post double crochets, front post treble crochets if you're working in the UK. So there's your first stitch, which is your chain 3, first double crochet. So around the next one, we're going to do a front post double crochet. So to do these, you yarn over, and instead of working into the top of the stitch through the loops there, we go around the back of the post of the double crochet, yarn over and pull through underneath that post. You'll have 3 loops on your hook, and you'll yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. And this brings our stitch, our double crochet stitch to the front, makes like a raised post. So it's basically completing a double crochet, but by working behind the stitch rather into the top. So we're going to do 6 in total. So we're going to yarn over again, put our hook behind our stitch, our post, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2, sorry, yarn over and pull through 2. So I've got 2 there now. I'm going to complete 6. Okay, so what this is doing is it's making our segments, our raised segments for the outside of the pumpkin. So we've got 6 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a double crochet there, which is set back. So this is how we make the segments rise out into little sections. So I'll just show you on the smaller one there. So you've got these raised sections, and the double crochets are pushed back. That's making it stand out nicely there. So for the next stitch, we just do a regular double crochet into the top of the chain. This finishes off our segment. So at the beginning of each one, we've got a double crochet. So it'll look like this. So you do your double crochet in your 7th stitch, and then we're going to do some post stitches. So again, we're going to repeat 6. So we're going to yarn over, go behind the post, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2. So we're going to do 6 more. So I've completed 6 more post stitches, and I'm going to do a double crochet into the next, which is working through the top of the stitch. So your piece will start to look like this around. So you'll have your 6 raised post stitches, and then separating those segments, you'll have a double crochet. So you're just going to repeat that all the way around. We've now completed 12 segments all the way around with our 6 front post stitches. If you've got too many stitches left at the end, it's when you joined your piece together on the first row. You need to make sure that you're going into that stitch, so you're losing an extra stitch, chaining 3, and then make sure you don't do your first double crochet into the same stitch as your chain 3. You want to move over and make sure that you've gone into the next stitch. That should give you 84 stitches all the way around, including your chain 3. So again, we're just going to go into the top of that chain there, our chain 3, and we're going to do a slip stitch. This gives us a nice seamless join there. And we're going to chain 3. And then we're just going to repeat row 2 all the way around. And that's what we're going to do until we get the height of our pumpkin. So we're just going to yarn over, go behind the post, complete your 6 front post stitches. And then you double crochet to finish off that segment. So you just repeat this all the way around and join again into the top of your chain 3, and then chain 3, and then you're just going to keep repeating the same row all the way around for a total number of 22 post rows. Okay, so forget your foundation row of double crochets, you want 22 post rows. I'll show you how this looks so it's easy to count your rows. After your 22 rows, you should have a piece that looks like this. So you can see it's lovely and stretchy. You've got clearly defined segments all the way around. And the easy way to tell how many rows you've done is on the inside here. You've got these little ridges. So for each row, you get a little ridge. So you'll need 22 of those, and that's when you'll finish with your post stitches. So then you're just going to grab your hook and join it. Well, it should still be joined. And we're going to do some single crochets around, but we're going to do some decreases. Okay, so we just want this to taper in a little bit at the top. It gives us a nice finished top when we put our sticks in. Okay, so for this row, once you've joined in the top of your chain 3 for your last post row, you just want to chain 1, and then we're going to go into that next stitch, and we're going to do a single crochet, which is a double crochet in UK, and we're going to single crochet 3, and then we're going to do a decrease. So we're going to go into our stitch, yarn over and pull through, then we're going to go into the next stitch, yarn over and pull through again, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on our hook. So this has decreased our stitches by 1. We've stitched 2 together then. So we're going to repeat that, 3 single crochets, and then a decrease. So into the stitch, yarn over and pull through, into the next stitch, yarn over and pull through, and then pull through all 3 loops. So we're going to repeat this all the way around our work, and then we're going to join with a slip stitch, and we're going to chain 1 again. So we've done 1 row there. Don't worry how many stitches you have left. If you've got 2, 1 by the end of the rows, just do your decrease and then single crochet the remaining stitches. So we're going to repeat that for another 2 rows, and you'll start to see the top taper in slightly at the side. So you just do a chain 1 at the end of your round, into the next stitch, single crochet, to the next stitch, single crochet, and then 1 more single crochet. Oh, pulled my hook out. And then a decrease. Okay, so 2 more rows of decreases, and then you can fasten off, but leave a long tail around double the length of your width of it closed, like that. It's not all the way around, so let's say like that. Okay, so we've finished our pumpkin shape. We've made a nice tapered, neat top row there, which we will secure in a little while once we've stuffed and added all of our fragrance and lovely bits. So we're going to secure this bottom close now at the moment so we can stuff it. So just grab yourself some yarn, again about double the length, the width, sorry, of your piece, and we're just going to weave around and pull that nice and secure. It's ready to stuff then. So you can start anywhere. I usually start on a sort of a segment here. You're going to pull that through. Make sure you've done a nice large knot there so it doesn't pull through when you tighten it. And then you're going to weave it in and out, leaving, approximately a stitch in between. You want it to be nice and snug. So weaving across the top stitch. Well, that'll be our foundation row, so that'll be a chain row. So just under those chains there, all the way around. Okay, here we are. We're back at the beginning where we made our first weave. So I would try and hold on to this as you pull it, because you might pull it through your fabric. So you want to give that a nice strong pull. It should all cinch together nicely. Do it gently because you might rip your yarn. This should close up nice and tight. You might want to just move things around so you've got some room, because there is quite a lot of fabric there. Okay, so it should look like this, and then you just want to secure it. So I'm just going to weave my needle into the bottom, pick up some stitches on either side, and go through. Make a nice little knot there. Do this a couple of times. That means it won't come apart. We want these to last a long time, which they will. I mean, you'll be using these year after year. You can add some extra scent to it every year. But these make great gifts because, you know, they're priceless really. You can use them forever. I don't think pumpkins will ever go out of fashion in the fall or autumn. And they just look so homely and cute. So you've got your bottom there. I've noticed I've got a little bit of a gap there, so I'm gonna just pick up the stitches and go through. And just make sure that's all nice and secure at the bottom. It is quite a thick yarn to use, but it gives you less gaps, because sometimes, as I can see, when they've been stuffed, you can sort of see the stuffing through it. But these are lovely and thick, rustic, chunky pumpkins. So I think that should be enough. So I'm just going to secure that with a nice knot, and then I can remove my yarn. It's sliding all over the place. So I've got a nice knot there. I'll just weave that through so I can chop it off. Hides well in your piece, so we're going to chop that off. So sort of looks like a beanie right now, but this is going to be the bottom of our piece, our pumpkin. And here we are. This is the inside. We've got our long yarn at the top ready for sealing the top at the bottom. Sorry, at the top at the bottom. Sealing the top at the end. So you just want something to stuff it with now. You can use an old pillow, the stuffing from in that. I've just got this soft toy filling here. You wanna be quite generous with that when you fill it up. So I'm gonna add a little bit, sort of push it around, make sure you get it into all the corners. Okay, and you can see what that would be like, so I'll probably put a little bit more in there just to make it nice. But before I add the last bit to the top, I'm going to add a little bit of scent in there. So I just use some from Tesco, some ground cinnamon. You can use spiced oils or like fall spices or essential oils, whatever. I put in cinnamon spice, something like that, so I give it a generous shake in there. Sort of bang that down, and then I'll cover that with my last bit of stuff in here. Oh, it smells amazing. Love that. This just gives it an extra scent boost. We have got the cinnamon sticks as well. So it's feeling quite, just make sure if you push it down you don't get a huge gap at the top. So I might just put another little bit in there. How's that going to look? Right. Maybe a little bit more. Right, I think that's quite generous now. So we're going to close the top now. So we've got a long strand here. I'm grab your yarn needle, and we're going to do the same as we did at the bottom. So we're just gonna, you can see the single crochet row, so we're going to go into one. Try not to do what I did and take your stuff in with you, and then just skip a stitch and go around like that all the way around, weave in and out again. Okay, so go ahead and you can pull this close now at the top. Again, try not to rip your yarn. Do it nice and slowly, gently if you can. You want it tight. You want to leave a little hole at the top for your cinnamon stick, but you don't want it too large. You can secure those in there with a hot glue gun if you've got it. So I usually do one that's nice and tight like that. Then I'll just secure this at the top, and I'll show you how to finish off those pumpkins. Okay, so we've got our lovely pumpkins here. You can give them a sort of press around and pull them now into the shape that you want. But if you're not happy with the segments and you want them to sort of stand out a little bit more, I will show you an optional extra you can do. So grab yourself a nice long piece of yarn, as long as you're happy enough to work with, because it can be a lot to thread through. And you're going to secure the end of a knot, and you're going to go into the bottom of your pumpkin, and you're going to pull it up through your hole, which can be quite tricky, but you get used to it. And then you're going to see where your segments are. So you've got your double crochet there, and you're going to pull that yarn through one of the segments like this, and that makes it sort of stick out a little bit more. Then you're going to go back into the bottom, pulling it and keeping it nice and tight there. So you don't want to let the yarn sort of go slack, otherwise it won't hold it in. So pull that through, and then just check which one you've done. So pull that nice and tight. So I've just done that one. I can see that yarn there. It hides really well, but it does give us a little bit of extra definition. And then pull that into the next one, and so on. So you'll do this all the way around for all your segments. And then I will show you your completed pumpkin at the end. If I could just get it is quite, you want quite a thick yarn needle, because you don't want to stab yourself. It can be quite difficult to get through. But like I say, this is optional because you've got your segments and it looks very much like a pumpkin already. This is just me being extra. So we're going to go into the next one now and pull that through. And as you can see, it does add a little bit of extra definition there. So if you want to do that, you can. If not, then your pumpkin is ready. Once you've completed that for all of your segments, you see that? See that lovely pumpkin shape? Love it. Okay, I've got a bag of cinnamon sticks here. They didn't cost me much. I think £1.50 for lots of them. So, like I said, if you've got a hot glue gun, you can use one of those just to secure that in there, but it should push in nicely. You can chop them off. You can use smaller ones if you want. I've got a little smaller one here. So, there is your pumpkin. Love it. I just need to finish off these ones, which I've been making as well by just doing the segments. I prefer the segments. Like I said, you don't have to do that. You don't have to add the extra fragrance if you don't want to, because the cinnamon sticks smell wonderful. And that is our scented rustic pumpkin. So like I said, the pattern in US and UK for all 3 sizes is in the link below. That's a free pattern. All the materials and the yarns used, and all the extras and things like that. Also, if you do go to the written pattern, and you've not done any pattern reading before, there's a handy little guide there that I've written for you. It's really comprehensive, so it tells you how to read patterns, not just for something as simple as this, but for making clothing and garments, so it's worth checking out. And thanks so much for joining my tutorial. Please give me a thumbs up and a subscribe if you like, and let me know. And please share your makes with me at Peanut and Plum, hashtag Peanut and Plum on Instagram or Facebook. I would absolutely love to hear from you and have a chat, see what you guys are making as well, other than pumpkins this season. And take care, all of you, and have a great day. Thank you.